Okay. The music button didn't work. That sucked. Hold on. Let me pull up. I hope you guys can hear me. Dang it. It's been a heck of a day trying to get everything up here. I hope I'm live. If I'm not, okay, I'm live. I see 4 watching. Let me go into my chat. This was a different kind of look, I gotta mute my shit. Okay, there. There we go. Okay, so today we are continuing the interview with Michele Marie Dalene. Um, I had her on, when was it? Oh God, just over a month ago. But remember, I had COVID, you guys, so we kind of had to cut it short. She is her and Lumi. I will introduce them both, and I got Sarah with me. You guys know Sarah, and she's going to help interview her too. So, hey, Gail. Hey, Pamela. Hey, Miss Dottie. Holy cow, girl. Cheryl King. David, welcome. Welcome. So, I'm going to go ahead and bring up Michele. Or actually, I'll bring up Sarah since she's going to be part of the interview. Sarah. You're up here, Sarah.
I'm trying to fix your thing so that we can do how it subscriber only mode.
Oh, subscriber only mode. Yes. Yes, definitely. We got Sherry Jackson, Aviation. Welcome, everybody. Kit and Cat, welcome. Hold on. Let me do this so you're protected. There you go. And you guys, don't block anybody or time anybody out unless they have, vulgar names. Hey, Stan. Vulgar names, or you guys would know. Just if they're talking, let them talk. Trolls are fun. We like to have a troll or two, right? Trolls are fun. They really are. So we got a lot of people coming in.
Each other as well.
Yeah, and maybe sometimes people come in, they're like raging assholes, and they're like, "Wait a minute, this channel's actually pretty fun," So
right.
It is what it is. I do. If I know you from another channel, I do mod you because I do have issues with people cloning other people, and this has been going on for years. So, but I do have the managing mods above you guys, so it works out. Everybody's protected, and if I really don't know you, but if somebody could vouch for you, then yes, you will be a mod then too. And that's how we're going to run it today. See, okay, Against the Wind, first timer here. Hello, Against the Wind. Anybody know that person? I'm like, anybody know? Welcome. We're not trying to be rude or anything, but we have a special guest on today. She is, oh God, Snow Queen? No, hold on. North America Snow Queen. There we go. Okay. I had to think about that because my brain doesn't. So she's North America Snow Queen. And her name we all know and love her by is Michele Marie Dalene. So welcome.
Hello, how you guys doing today? Oh, by the way, just a reminder, ask your mods if they see a new person they can use the mod tools of the 3 dots to check out that person's channel.
Yes.
As well.
Yes, exactly.
Especially if you think it's a clone of another account.
Yep.
But please don't block anybody unless there's a problem.
Yeah, don't block anybody. And if you do, don't block them. Just time them out and we'll go back and look at. But you guys know how we run this. I mean, majority of you been with me forever. So no blocking anyone. And I forgot to introduce Lumi.
How you doing?
Lumi. Hey, Lumi, I'm sorry.
The other one. It's Lumi over here. That's Lumi. This is Lumi. This is Michele. Okay. So it gets confusing.
Yes. Okay. So Against the Wind, Michele is your friend. Okay.
Yeah.
Paul, who is the sexiest on the panel? That's Michele. That's hands down Michele. I'm not going to do a poll. Michele will embarrass me and Sarah. I mean, come on. This is all about Michele.
I don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
she's
the Mary.
sexier than me.
I think you've
Sexier
been
than
married
me.
too long.
I think I have been. And David goes, I know some people from Michelle's channel. So
Yes,
the
and so
last time
it's
we had
me
her,
on my channel. Yes, I didn't tell you that earlier. Sorry about that. I couldn't. I was
no,
being
that's okay.
since backstage. So
Yes, and everybody check out Kit and Cat's channel because everybody check out Cat's channel. Cat's
I'll check
advertising.
his channel. Yeah, I checked out some of his stuff he's done. So
Yeah. So you guys definitely check out each other's channel. Okay, does each continent have its own snow queen? Somebody is asking that question. Dirty Boots. Does
sure.
each continent have its own snow queen? Here we go.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Some
set that up.
continents don't have snow, don't they?
yes, each
don't know.
continent has its own snow queen.
And you're North America's snow queen. I'm getting the wrong thing.
Continent, but basically, we got originally when Mother created it. Originally, that each continent or was pretty much its own zone, a regional zone. Some of them don't even call themselves snow queens; they just call themselves winter weather sorcerers and sorceresses. I'm actually the only one that calls himself a snow queen.
Okay.
So that
And
kind
why is that? You like it's the winter and the cold and
it's fact this
what's
is
her
kind
name?
of nice
Elsa.
time when you get to kind of huddle together and hang out together, drinking hot cocoa and sitting around the warm fire and skiing and sledding and snowboarding and making snowmen and ice angels, rust angels, things like that. And of course,
Ice
you get
Angel.
Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year's, and Valentine's Day, President's Day, Martin Luther King Day too. That's what makes
Nice.
winter so awesome because there's so many awesome holidays during that time of the year.
My birthday's in the wintertime, so I'm a snowbirdie. I
Yeah.
like the winter.
Your birthday's every day.
I know, but the real birthday is December 19th. So yes.
What's your astrological sign, Emmy? Just curious.
Sagittarius.
Okay, yeah, you're December. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just right before Capricorn. I believe the 21st
Yes,
is
yeah.
Capricorn. Yeah, so I'm just oh, don't get Sarah reading this stuff. She's never read me a thingy. So leave my astrological moon thingy out of here.
Look, I
No.
can't yet. I don't have
I
all of
already
the
know. I already
information.
know from just observing your channel that I suspected you had some Sag because the fact is you're also very much into traveling and exploring things.
Yeah, you're talking to me?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
I don't really know enough about Sarah yet.
I'm a Sagittarius rising.
Okay. Sagittarius rising. Okay, so you really kind of right a little bit before that. I believe that would put you in the late Scorpio or in the cusp.
No, I'm a rising. So I'm a Libra, but I'm a Sag rising.
Oh, okay. It's a Libra. Okay. Cool. It's interesting now. So today we're going to try to answer some of the questions that people keep asking about what happens when you die and what does it mean to go through the tunnel, and is it the same among everybody? And also people love to know about their pets that passed, and so we're going to cover that as well as best I understand it.
And what do people? So a lot of people. Let me get back started at your channel. I noticed you never really talked about the paranormal until actually I came into your channel, and then you really opened up, and it's like you had so much more
we
to
used
tell.
to cover it more before Michelle and I were just doing videos. We didn't really get in too much into it after we were going live because
Okay.
we already were having streams views of Michelle and me, so it was like we didn't feel like was ready to bring that up.
Okay.
The live streams is kind of hard because they keep changing and the topics change so fast. And so we decided not to bring it up on the show. Exactly. It was decided just to do videos on that because in a way we can focus on everything and try and hammer it down perfectly as best we can.
Right. Okay. That was Lumi, just in case none of you knew, but everybody knows. I mean, pretty much. And
like slightly huskier one. Yeah.
Lumi's the huskier one?
Well, yeah, voice is a little deeper than Michelle's. Yeah, her
Oh,
voice is
okay.
deeper than
I
mine,
was
but
like, it is. So, Sarah, what do you want to ask our guest?
Well, we were talking a little bit backstage, and she was talking about OBEs, and I was talking about NDEs.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think is, besides the actual death, what do you think is the difference? What have you found when you ask people about their OBEs or their NDEs? What do you find are similarities and differences?
well, near-death experiences can actually feature traits of an OBE as well. But what makes the near-death experience a little more unique is the issue of usually crossing over to go through the portal or the tunnel or the rainbow bridge. Whereas typically out-of-body experiences, you sometimes see yourself looking down at your body, and say, for example, you hear often people talk about how they look at their body sitting in a hospital bed. But you don't even have to be at that stage of NDE yet to go through that. Anybody who does astral travel can also can activate that as well. I've done it with Lumi. We've looked at ourselves sitting on the couch, listening to the music and watching ourselves.
My son has done that.
But it's something most people don't really think about. That they think it only usually happens when you are in a certain heightened state, which is clearly true. Yes, it does happen in a certain state, but it doesn't necessarily have to be during near-death experience. That's the thing that some people don't really know the difference of. But if you're going to talk about out-of-body experiences, you may also talk about astral travel too, because astral travel is also an OBE. Because you're taking your soul, your energy, your life force is temporarily leaving the body. You kind of set your security alarm ahead of time, so that in case something happens in the mundane world and you have to snap back, because you have this intangible cord that attaches your soul to your body.
The silver cord, right?
The silver cord, yeah.
And let me ask you this, okay? So, do you think when you're astral projecting, and I've read up on this, and I'm just curious what everybody else thinks, and this will be to you too, Sarah. When you're astral projecting and you got that silver cord and stuff, but when you come back, do you think another spirit can latch onto you and come back with you, or you can bring something negative back?
Yes.
With that?
I don't think so, but that's just my opinion.
Remember, that's why you have to set the alarm. Because the other reason is temporarily you have left basically, but you did not lock the door behind you, so to speak. And so if you don't have any kind of an alarm set, a demonic entity can come right in and take your body over and squat in there.
And it's one of those I've heard from both sides. It's like a 50-50 thing. I believe a spirit can come back with you, whether it's a positive or negative. You know, they can latch on to you, but because who are they to say no? You know, like we've talked about. You go to the cemetery, people tell them all the time, you can't follow me home. Blah blah. Blah. They're gonna follow if they want to. They're gonna really follow you home. So that's why I was asking, and I might put that as a poll and see what other people think, but it's like a 50-50 thing. Then that's why I wanted to ask both of you, because I knew you both had different answers. Because
let's put it this way: I never myself, me and Lumi go together. So but we had, like I said, we leave the equipment of our ADT alarm system on in the body. So if somebody tries to break in and do a body invasion, we at least know about it. Or if mundane activities like the doorbell rings or something, that we can get back fairly quickly. But I never heard of a spirit attached to my body like a sea lamprey attaches to a trout. It's my soul. But I have heard people coming back and finding a squatter in their body. And
Right.
that's jokingly say that Lumi's the one that has the baseball bat.
Do you think that has to do with fear?
Well, there's always a fear. Do you want to be homeless? I mean, think about it. That's the ultimate form of homeless.
When I'm dealing, like for me personally, because I've done a lot of things in the metaphysical world that would probably scare people. I've witnessed things, but I don't allow it to scare me. I don't have fear when I'm going into things. So no.
I think I did that wrong.
Did you do wrong?
I remember something that was said by Modern Monaheim in the movie Dune, Fear is the Mind Killer. If you go about it with awareness, and the fear doesn't handicap you, you can do fine. But you do need to keep in mind that when your body is, the door is technically unlocked and there's no one in there minding the store, demons, as we remember what happened with the demoniac when Jesus cast out all the demons into the swine. The swine then went down to the river and drowned. Because their whole thing in life is they want to destroy the body, but the soul they can't destroy. But the soul, if your soul, gets locked out and the thug changes the door lock, it's kind of, I can't really visualize what that'd be like to be locked out of your own body, where your key don't work no more. It's something that I don't think most people really feel comfortable with when you talk about astral travel. Is there's always a risk of body invasion. That's the reason why it's so important to make sure you set some kind of an alarm or something to get back in a hurry before someone tries to break through the door or smash or spiritual windows or stuff.
Right. There's always a risk with it in many
there's always risk with that. And also don't forget you got to do with the mundane stuff too. Just the same thing, because you have to be able to get back there. It's very uncomfortable when you have to use that emergency reeling of the cord, but if you got to do it, you got to do it. That's very disorienting. So so as I said, the OBE includes astral travel as well.
Right. And I know for me, when I have astral traveled, I always am very aware of what I'm going into. So that's why I say I don't fear bringing anything back with me, because I go into it with that, like, this is not happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's like, okay, so somebody mentioned about what was it? The suicide forest there in Japan. I know a lot of people wouldn't go there, but see, I would go there. But there's a lot of people that won't, just because. And it's one of those things. And I put
the thing is, like, here's the thing. Like, if you talk about places like that, or a prison, or somewhere where you're going to go do an investigation that is highly known for attachments or whatever, the thing is with that, and I always say to people, keep your fear at the door, because a lot of these, I've noticed in recent years, especially, a lot of these paranormal channels, even like the Travel Channel, the Discovery Channel, they market it as being demonic and evil and all this. And I mean, you might go in there and not get anything. You know what I'm saying? But they put this fear in people that when you go there, something's going to follow you home.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So you're already going there with that preconceived notion, like, oh, I watched this show, so now I'm going to I have to, so there's that preconceived fear and notion that, if I go here, something's going to attach to me.
Yeah.
Which,
you leave yourself open on that a little bit.
right, which is super dangerous. And this is why I don't watch a whole lot of paranormal anymore, because it's changed. In the last probably even 5 years, it's changed so drastically.
A lot of people like to conjure things, or
Well, that too.
not just conjure, they also like to go in with the wrong intentions,
Right.
and shit happens.
You also have to remember, though, these channels on TV are dealing a lot of times with people that have no training, no experience in doing
That
this.
too.
Mhm.
Or
And
no
so
self-awareness.
it's just like when they say, we are experts, do not try this at home.
There is
because
no
they want
expert.
to save themselves from possible litigation. That's why.
Right.
It's a learning
I
process.
had a medical experience on December 6th, 2019, when I broke my left kneecap. I ended up in the ER at a Wraith. Actually was prowling around the ER, and they attached to my leg. And that negative entity was sucking the energy out of my leg. And my friend Patty saw that with her simple, very basic video or cell phone camera.
How did that negative energy come to you? Did somebody
I was
conjure it up to
in
you?
the ER like any other patient was. And these Wraiths tend to look for people.
Hey, there's a door knocking. Hold on. Is that your door knocking?
I don't hear anybody knocking at my door.
Sarah, were you knocking?
I could go check, though. So let me go check.
I heard a loud knock.
Let me go check.
Okay.
Knocking at my door. I gotta use the bathroom anyway.
Sorry, I had to get. I'm making coffee.
Okay, so there was no knocking at your house.
Yes, that was me.
Oh, you did knock?
Yeah, I was emptying the coffee thing. I'm sorry, I should have muted.
I said I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
I was like, because she can't hear. Oh my God, I better get up and go check.
It's me. I'm so sorry. I wasn't even thinking.
It would sound like that. I was like, I hear knocking, and you were
I was
there.
banging
like,
the coffee thing against the garbage can.
Oh yeah, right, Kitty. I was thinking the same thing. I was getting ready to. Yeah. Hey, Mr. Will, welcome. Hey, Gail, time to say hello to everybody. Hey, Sean Woman, Joe, my Jojo, welcome. Spitfire, how you doing? Gail's in the house. Sherry Jackson.
Those weird days.
So, okay, my bad. It was Sarah.
It was me.
Sarah, tell her what you did. I got to deal with my dog. Finish asking questions. I'll be right back.
Okay. So what was I? So like I said, the Wraith. So when I was laying on the bed, we happened to, we had this brace on, and it was really, really tight. So we had to take it off. And then Patty saw all the bruises on the leg, insane numbers of bruises. And then she saw, when she was taking a picture of it to show a friend that had some medical knowledge, she saw this evil chlorine-colored vapor coming out of the foot. And she was like, what in the heck is that? And I said, oh my goodness, that's a Wraith. And I said, that's a demon. It's an energy-sucking demon. Must have picked it up when I was in the ER. Because remember, when you're dealing with the sick and dying and the infirm, the demonics are looking for easy ways to get into souls, and they were looking for feeding. That was the only thing they could really do, is feed off my injury. They couldn't really suck much else out of me because I had pretty strong wards, but that was also when I was at my weakest because of the injury. But we managed to get rid of the Wraith, but still, um, we had to basically exercise it to put some holy water on it and to, wave the cross over it and say, get out of here. And it left. It never came back. But still, people say to me, well, Wraiths ain't real. Oh, yes, they are real. Then they are hungry. And that's the reason why you got to be careful, especially in the emergency room. It's not just MRSA you have to worry about, or other medical conditions, or biological or bacterial infections, but also spiritual infections. So that's an important thing to keep in mind when you're dealing with Wraiths or any other spirit. The same thing can happen though when you're doing, if you're just doing astral travels, if you're not careful. That's one of the reasons why you got to make sure to have a good, strong guards.
I'm like muted. I'm trying to talk. I'm back and I'm muted. I'm like Serene. It says, oh my God, my stepmother just had that happen to her foot. She told me yesterday.
Really?
So, Sarah, what are your thoughts on Wraiths?
You know me, I believe in
I know.
Okay. How am I gonna put this to not seem like, to me, demons are extremely rare. Extremely.
I agree with that. Let me put another poll out too while you're doing that.
I've had conversations with demonologists who, a lot of, and even listening to like Father Malachi Martin speak about possession, a lot of it can be ascertained to, health issues or mental health issues and things of that nature. So an actual demon is extremely rare. As far as
I'm going to put a poll out
my
too.
belief system is you have to actually you have to invite it. It's kind of like how they say about like a vampire coming to your door. You have to invite it in. That's how I feel about demons and them attaching or having any power over anybody. To me they're weak and they're powerless unless we give them power.
Well, the thing is that if your health is compromised already, you're not really in any position to stop them. They look for the easy prey. They're going to choose the person that is clearly, already compromised because of health reasons. So, yes, it would make sense that they're going to be working around the emergency room of a hospital because they know, depending on the patient's condition, they're not going to be, able to stop them. And they like easy pickings. They don't necessarily want to go up against something that's built like Fort Knox. But if you got a patient that's sitting on a gurney and they've got a lot of concerns going on in their head, no one's sitting there thinking, "Oh my God, I got to set my wards." You're worried about, "Oh my God, am I ever going to be normal again? Am I going to be able to walk again?" So you're worried more about the mundane things. So yeah, they're going to come in.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it doesn't. Here's my thing. If people have faith in God or Jesus or whatever faith that they have in, aren't they protected?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
I put a poll out there. Okay, and the poll says, do you believe you will come across a true demon in your lifetime? And that's for everybody to answer. Everybody has different beliefs on that. I'm a lot like Sarah on that. because I've met demonologists, I've talked with them, and I've never really had.
Well,
Okay,
just
so
remember that wraiths are just one type of demon. They're not.
right.
Well, I'm talking
they're
about any kind of
fighting
demon.
ones.
They have no
Any
power
demons,
over us.
because nowadays, like you'll see a lot on the internet. They're like, "Oh, I was possessed by a demon." That's what a lot of people's go-to is, or when you're doing a spirit box session and you hear the word demon come across, or devil, evil. To me, what I think is, it's just a person who is an asshole in the living is also an asshole in the dead. And they're going to say whatever they can to scare
Sometimes.
you.
Yeah, fix
That's
this.
my thoughts on that.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, so Dina says Wraith isn't a demon.
Yeah, the definition of a wraith isn't demon.
Yeah, it's a wraith. It's a very small subdemon. They're not. They're more of the. They're more of the energy stealers.
Okay, and what about black-eyed children?
I don't really know much about the black-eyed children. I
Okay,
do
that's
know
fair.
that they seem to be soulless, from what I've heard. Nobody really knows where they came from.
Sarah?
I don't know. I think that there's something else. I think that they're more of a shapeshifter in the sense of like maybe related to cryptids in that sense.
Okay. When it comes to black-eyed children with me, I don't know much about them, to be honest.
I never met.
And because I'd never seen them, and I've never really seen people actually physically talk about them, like they do more demons than anything. I honestly don't believe in black-eyed children. That's my part. That's demons are real. Look at John and Lolly. True. Okay, I gotta put that up there. That's the only reason why I feel that way about black-eyed children, just because you don't hear a lot about that.
Right. I would just say my case is I have not actually encountered one, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. Just like I have never physically met a gray alien, doesn't mean they don't exist either.
Sarah has. Sarah's a star seedling. Hey, Jeff, says the demon. You know what? Touche, Jeff. I'm going to put that up there. Demons are real, says John and Lolly. Jeff says the demon himself. Glad to see you can make it, Jeff. Wouldn't be an interview without you here in our honor. Okay, so what about people in chat? Okay, so right now the poll we got going here is, do you believe you will come across a true demon in your lifetime? 67% you said no. That I thought more. Well, look at the people we were working with. A lot of people, they know. Okay, so the next one will be black-eyed children. So Sarah, go ahead and you can ask a question while I start a poll.
Well, I think a lot of these questions have to do with like perception of everyone. So
Yes.
The answer to my poll is no. I don't. I think the black-eyed children are more of a creepypasta story than anything else in that sense. Because there's no like solid evidence. There's no like real.
Not like the other cryptids out there.
It's kind of like Zozo.
And we all know what Zozo is. It's an imagination of
Nothing.
your.
Zozo is nothing. Zozo was created by the internet. I think that that's kind of the same thing. Like somebody made up a story and then they passed it along and they played telephone with everybody.
Like an urban legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Zozo came from the 80s. This is why a lot of people are afraid of the Ouija board. And we'll get into that. Okay, Michelle,
Go ahead.
what are your thoughts of Ouija boards?
As far as the black eyed children thing, I don't really know enough about them other than what I've read. And
Right.
I know that about a year, 2 years ago, they say I had really dark eyes, like I was haunted or something.
Oh,
Uh,
really? You?
So maybe I was being partially manipulated by some negative entity, but I'll tell you that, especially since 2020 to 2022, my life was really, really in a really bad state. Which is much better now than it was then. I don't want to go into all the
Good.
details on that because it's going to go way off this video, and I don't want to go off on that.
Okay, yeah, no.
But let's just say that I believe the demonics can still influence you even if you're not ill. But I was ill emotionally. So, because they love misery. Because we are all children of Divine Mother and Father God, and they love misery. They love seeing God's children crying and upset.
They
Because
feed off of all of that.
Yeah. The negativity, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have if you set aside your faith, even for a second, or you have, even if you're like, I'm afraid of what's happening to me physically, or I'm afraid I have these fears, and you're looking towards dark days, you are opening yourself up for negativity to enter. So basically, you're giving it the power that it wants.
Right.
Yep, I think we can all agree on that. So
Children
let me ask Lumi.
Possessed by the devil, Spitfire. That's
Lumi.
Let's go ahead. Right?
What are your thoughts on a Ouija board?
We tried a Ouija board some time ago, and we got nothing out of it because Michelle said so many words on the thing that couldn't get anything through with messages. Michelle had set up candles and set up incense and set up the wards and everything, and because Michelle also does a lot of sorcery, and so no entities, good or bad, could get through the Ouija board.
So nothing, just okay.
It's good, I guess, because Michelle wouldn't have known how to deal with it if it had, because she usually works through clairaudience and clairsentience.
Right. Well, see, now this is why we have to ask Lumi questions, because Lumi's going to be straight up honest about Michelle.
Yeah, at least I'll try to be.
Yes, I hear you. That's why I asked you, Lumi. Okay, Lumi, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on black-eyed children?
Like Michelle said, I haven't actually met them, but there's some people said for a while Michelle had black eyes too, and so I wonder if they were regular children that, for whatever reason, had invariably opened their spiritual doors to dark entities that came in and hijacked them and did a body invasion, for lack of a better term. Whereas the poor person that actually is a child that would normally resides in the body is kind of like trussed up and thrown in the trunk, and has no idea what's going on. The few stories I have read indicates that the children are kind of like cold, calculating, sinister. But you would think, obviously they're biological entities, so which means they have family. But did the family know what's going on or not? So again, we have a lot of questions about black-eyed kids we cannot answer. We don't know enough about them. But you definitely would think a psychologist or a child psychologist would go, "Hey, there's something wrong with your kid," But at this point, we don't have enough information to go on that. So we need to get more information on black-eyed children to really make a research on it. I agree with that there's definitely a lot of things in this paranormal world we do not know. And we are still learning those things every day. As we get more and more, testimony from individuals that have gone through it, it makes a big difference. Yeah.
I just want to make a comment because I think a lot of people are misinformed in the case of children having attachments and having possession. And I'm going to have to route myself back to Father Malachi Martin. If you don't know who that is, he was the basis of The Exorcist.
Right.
He performed thousands of exorcisms. And he said in the case of children, what happens is, in his studies, he found that many people who have actual demon afflictions, it's generational. Now, that doesn't mean that children become possessed. It means that they are harassed. It means that they are trying, like the entity is trying to kind of, David, but they don't have the black eyes. I don't believe in the black-eyed children. But anyway, off topic. So back to children cannot be actually possessed, but they can be harassed. They can be bullied, etc. from the dark negative entity or demon or whatever they're dealing with, and that is generational. That means that their parents, their grandparents, it goes down the line. And I think that's a funny thing because a lot of people like me, I believe that I look towards more like aliens being demonic. What we would consider being demons are more aliens, the bad ones. And that is also when people are finding that they've been abducted, that's also very generational.
Do you think what you're saying is that you think that maybe some of the children, because of maybe childhood of trauma or abuse,
that too,
or maybe even their parents before them, have been influenced because of their weakened state by negative entities? I'll call them negative entities. They may not specifically be demons, but I wonder if that does make an impact, because we know child abuse is generational. It goes back a long way.
But also so is being abducted by aliens and possession. David, the exorcist that performed that exorcism was Father Malachi Martin. I recommend you go listen to his interviews with Art Bell. They're all over the internet. You can
actually Stoney has them on her channel.
Yeah, Stoney has them on her channel, and you can hear what he has to say about that. He also wrote books and everything else. That was a generational case. They can be affected by them, but that it wasn't like a true possession in sense. You can go.
Well, speaking of star children, I am a Pleiadian star child, but when I get a chance to see what I look like from my mind's eye, my inner mind's eye, I am an elf-like Pleiadian. So that's why the ears kind of fit, because in my true form of have ears like this. So yeah, that's kind of interesting to think about that. Have you ever read or watched any of the videos with Swaro, which is channeled by Garcia on her channel there? Oh my goodness, what's it called there? The Galactic Consciousness channel. I actually found them quite interesting. But let's talk about Star Kids real quick, because Star Children.
That's Sarah. That's all Sarah. You and Sarah are the star seedlings of this whole talk thing. You two go at it. So go ahead, Michelle. It's your interview. You started off, and I'll just sit back, mute my mic, and listen to you two.
Well, actually, I want to ask you both of you the same question. So let's see what you both get to say, and I won't take too long of it. What do you know about the Star Children now?
Which ones?
Any of them?
I don't.
Children.
I'm sorry. That's not my forte. I'm not like into that yet. I'm just into spirits right now.
I mean, that's part of it, though, Emmy.
I know, but I haven't
Reggie,
I haven't got that awakening.
It's funny because me and Reggie were talking about that the other night, about how when you talk about paranormal, you have to include all of it, because a lot of these shadows that you see and things like that, like, you could be seeing your future self. You could be seeing an alien spirit.
You know what? If I saw my future self, I know I'd run over there. I'd kick my ass. I'd be like, "What?"
Oh, you don't. I mean,
I know.
A lot of times,
that's why I joke around about it, because I don't know much about that when it comes to that. Less I know, the better off I feel. That's me. You know.
I mean, but you have to include it all together, because you could be seeing your future self. It's a whole thing. Anyway, that's, from.
Well, what I wanted to get back to also was the original topic that we started out about what happens after you pass, because that was what we started with, and we kind of went off this.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons why life streams are kind of fun, because they're like a river that meanders around like the big Amazon, sure, it's got straight lines, but it's also got a lot of twists and turns. So let's try to get back to that. Emmy, what do you think about what happens after you pass? I mean, let's get back to the topic.
Okay, well, you got to figure out what you're doing. You get stuck in like this parallel. That's the word I want to use. I'm not good with words. Parallel. And I mean, some people choose to move on, I guess, and then there's some people, they feel, this is me, this is my thinking, they have unintended business and stuff that or they need, they're still left here to help out some way. Not sure why, but that's me. That's how I think. Yes, we're behaving, Greg. When I go on these investigations and I talk to spirits, I don't find out the history of the place, and I let the spirits tell me what's going on and stuff. So some choose to stay, some choose to go. Hey, stop. No, Lulu, go ahead.
Well, one of the things me and Michelle talked about is, what about the few NDEs where they go up to the tunnel and all of a sudden the family member comes out and says, "You got to go back. It's not your time." It's not the person saying it's not my time. It's a loved one saying it's not your time. You got to go back.
Well, that's what Jesus told me.
Or people have looked down as.
I will say this. I didn't want to come back.
Yeah, a lot of them say the same thing, that they don't want to come back. They're like, I don't want to go back to that. I want to go ahead. And then like I said, this loved one says, no, you got to go back. You got to finish what you came here for. Remember, though, the ones that we're hearing about from the NDEs are either those that have been resuscitated and recovered and came back. We're not hearing anything from those that went on and didn't come back for obvious reasons. So we don't know all the details about those who chose to go on anyway. All I
What
can
about
is
the people, as they're leaving their body, and it's not Jesus or anybody telling them to come back. They're happy. They want to go. They have that feeling of finally being free, but they're looking down and they're seeing the family grieve. And everybody's there is
right.
grieving. So it's almost like they're being pulled back down. How do you guys
But
feel about
it's
that?
from my experience, it's not up to us. In fact, before we come here, and I have to bring up Greg and Reggie again because we had a really interesting conversation the other night about Akashic Records and how before we even come here to this plane,
Right.
we write every single second of our lives, who our parents will be, who our children will be. We have soul contracts with these people. And
Absolutely. Yep.
so
What are we here for then?
you really want me to get into that, Tiger Kitty? I can get into that. There's many reasons why we're here. Life lessons. That life lessons is how I can put it. Life lessons. If the ultimate goal is to ascend and have ascension and ascend to the next level, right? How do we ascend? We learn. So we come here different lifetimes so that we can learn and we can ascend so that we don't have to learn those lessons anymore.
Well, it's
Okay,
like
so
I say,
what about when
life stands for learning is fundamentally essential.
Mm-hmm.
what about when an innocent baby or a child leaves?
That was part of their record. That was part of their
You
life
feel
lesson.
before they even had the life, it was already taken from them?
They wrote that in their record before they came here.
Okay.
That's right. Even those children that were never even physically born for whatever reason, from abortion or miscarriage, they wrote that very short life chart. I don't know what they would learn, but that's something that they chose to write in their life chart.
And people that don't understand this, but I have a full understanding of this, like soul contracts and things like that. So I was on another panel one night. We were discussing what happens to people who are serial killers. And I am a firm believer that is also a life lesson that they are learning. They are learning their own lesson, and that they had soul contracts with their victims and they lived many lives together. We live many lives together.
Yes, we have soul tribes.
Yep. And what I say to people is we're here in a meat suit and we're just here to learn what we need to learn before we can ascend. That's what I know and believe. But can we alter that? No. Every single second is written out. And every single person who we encounter is in there.
But here's one question that some people have asked. Mm-hmm. Since we can incarnate on any planet, why do we choose Earth? It is the hardest planet to incarnate on.
That's why. It's a lesson.
Hey, Banshee. I want to answer Serene's question. Is it true to open a window when a person dies to allow the spirit to leave? It depends on what kind of window you're talking about. Now, this is why I got emotional, is because before my dad died, I called him.
That's a good question.
And it was 2 minutes before.
Spirit is energy.
We are all energy.
Right, yeah. But it was 2 minutes before he had passed when I called. And it was that line
energy beings in a bag, if you will. I mean, it's this body is just a vehicle that we travel in, but we're all energy
Ooh,
beings.
there's a question.
Well, we
There
all
you go.
have free will. It's not that God makes people evil. It's that we are here to learn certain lessons. We are here to ascend. We are here, like, to me, this is the closest that we'll ever get to hell, right? So, and it's hard. It's hard for people to understand that, but it is. This is the hardest place to be, just like Michele just said. And being here, you learn many
Oops.
lessons. You can learn patience. You can learn balance. You can learn all kinds of things. There are many, many, many life lessons to learn. Okay. So it doesn't make a person evil. It's just here. But if we're talking about beyond here, time doesn't exist. None of that exists. Everyone is pretty much equal.
Oh, I thought time does exist here. It's just when
Here, outside of here,
yeah,
it does not.
outside of here it don't. Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of like we are writing this lifeline that we're in, and we come here, we do the lifeline, we learn the lessons, we do what it is that we have to do. That's why some people are celebrities. That's why some people are homeless their whole life. That's why some people have way more hardships than other people do, because it's all a different lesson that they have to learn in this lifetime. That doesn't, so if somebody's evil, so say you have a serial killer and on this plane, when they leave, they're not a serial killer anymore, because they can't kill energy, right? So they're
Right.
here for a blip in time, and they learn that lesson, and their victims learn their lessons, and then they go to maybe their next life, or maybe they don't. Maybe they're done. Maybe they're ascended. Maybe they become guides. Maybe there's a whole plethora of things that they can do once they're gone. But that doesn't mean that just because they were evil here on Earth, that means that they're the same person when they leave their meat suit.
Unless they're assholes. Like
But
genuinely
I guess
assholes.
another question then is, since obviously a lot of us have been taught this about heaven and hell and purgatory. I mean, when would God really truly send people to hell? If it was part of the life chart to do these evil things that they're doing as on Earth, and they're not truly evil because they're just following the life chart that they designed.
Right.
So then, when do people actually go to hell?
Oh, I know. I'm
See,
going.
that's why I said this is. I think, to me, this is the closest to hell we're gonna get. I don't think that there is a hell.
You don't think there is?
No, I don't.
I guess then we have to be asking that question: where did demons come from? Because I mean, we know what it says in the Bible that a third of the heavenly host went with Satan, who left the heavenly host to God.
They're here
On Earth.
That's why I said I believe that
Does Sarah think there is a heaven?
I think that I think that, well, here, I'll get into that in a second. Let me explain. Okay. So, in the book of Enoch, the fallen angels came where? To Earth, right? They mated with humans. They created the Nephilim, or the giants.
Right.
They did unspeakable things. Now, if you ask people who are involved with certain religious organizations, they will tell you that the demons, which we claim to know, are actually God, I hate saying this. Okay, there are alien races who have lived here long before we have, who are trying to put evil into man, who are trying to unwill people from their learning, who, I mean, if you look at Hollywood, you see people have exorbitant amounts of money, and they have these alter egos who take over them while they're performing and whatnot. They are being abducted by aliens, who I think are the demons. There's a lot of darkness and sadness and evil here on this planet, and I don't think it could get that much worse. Now,
Didn't you say, before I forget, didn't you say you got to have basically the good and bad to balance out?
correct.
Okay, so why couldn't there be a heaven and hell to balance out? I mean, you got to go somewhere, maybe.
Right,
Well,
but
I mean, no, there's a heaven. I'll just say that much, or at least something that we would consider heaven.
right.
I mean, nobody's ever died and been resuscitated or whatever and brought back from hell. I mean, nobody's ever really have said, "I've been to hell and now I'm back."
Well,
I mean,
there's some people that have said that, but
very, very, very few.
But I know that when I left, I didn't go to hell, and I probably should have. I was not living how I should have been. And when I tell you what I experienced was pure, unfiltered love, it was not like, how do I don't even know how to describe it. It was like there were trees and there was grass and there was flowers, and all of them loved me, and all of them wanted me to be there, but I knew it was not my time. And I was told, it's not your time. You still have to go back and you have to do what you have to do. Like, part of my life lesson is my kids. And my son was, I think, 12 at the time. So I needed to go back and help guide him through life. And that's part of it. Now,
Okay.
I will say that, with all of this, my whole point was with the Book of Enoch was the fallen angels that are trapped under the river Euphrates, and when the time comes, they're to be unleashed to take out like 1/3 of humanity. Correct? That's what the Book of Enoch says. That's what I also believe it says that in Revelations. I don't quote me on that. But anyway, it does.
Yes, talks about the Tigris and Euphrates drying up, and then all the demons that were. It was one of the bowls that was cast upon with the waters of the Euphrates great river would dry up.
And the bound angel. There are. Is it three or four
horsemen?
No, there are 3 or 4 fallen angels that are bound under the river Euphrates that are to rise up during end times to, along with the 4 horsemen and all of that. But this is just a series of all this. So when people ask me if I think that there's a hell, no, because all of this is going to be destroyed. And if you feel like now, the Bible, and mostly in Revelations, it talks about fire and brimstone. So if you think about that, when you think about what is supposed to come to this earth, if people are, if their souls are trapped here or whatever, and they don't repent or believe in God, and they won't be able to go. But they don't say that they're going to be cast into hell. They say that they're going to be trapped here.
I heard that too. But I wonder if this is the only planet where we have this, because I think there may be other planets that in the Parthenon of Mother and Father God, where other planets may also have their own demonics. Just to keep it generic. I mean, I only know of Earth, and what I've learned so far about Silver Moon in my next life, which isn't really a lot, but just find out the Silver Moon is a place that, has its own challenges, but they're not the same as ours. And so, I mean, could there be more than just the demonics just living on Earth? I mean, are they related to the Anunnaki? Are they related to the dark entities, the dark aliens that came in, like the ones
They
that
are.
They are. Yes.
They are.
I'm saying is how so? I mean, I'm trying to understand all the twists and turns.
That's what I mean. The beings that have been here long before we were are those. Now they have been trying to take over. They literally try to take over the spirit of us. The light. In my experience with these extraterrestrial beings, there are. I always tell people it's like being in that. If you've ever seen Star Wars and they go to that bar.
Yeah.
And they're trying to bargain. It's kind of like that. There's all different kinds of races. But I can tell you, this is why people are waking up and having their spiritual awakenings right now, because this.
Yes, 2024 is going to be a time of spiritual awakening and a great shakings and rumblings, if you will.
Right.
Somebody even talked about the 3 days of darkness. And I don't really know how that's going to work with the 3 days of darkness. Have you ever heard of the 3 days of darkness?
I have. I don't have like inside information on that or anything. All I can say is I don't. Everybody wants to believe that there is an end, and I don't believe that there's an end. I think that there's going to be an apocalyptic time. I don't think we're there yet. And here's why. As much war and whatnot as there is, I don't think that we have actually had the signs yet. Now, yeah, there's a lot of strife. There's a lot of there's a lot going on here. But that's why I said, and this may not make sense to people. I see Brian commenting to me, hell is the absence of God. I never said anything about that because there are other races out there that I have communicated with of aliens on different star systems, be it the Palladians, the whatever, the Lyrians, all of them. They all believe in God. Absolutely.
The supreme creator of the universe.
God is the creator,
Who
right?
himself is from another universe.
Well, there are multiverses.
Right.
There are. But
Right.
like I said, this is, like I said, and it all goes back to ascension. If we're to ascend, we can be in the presence of our Savior, of our Creator. Okay? If we don't have to deal with the stuff that happens here anymore. We don't have to. And there are races of aliens out there, and there are even the Palladians. I believe 100% that Jesus was implanted in Mary as a starseed.
Yeah.
And he was actually more than a starseed. He was actually created and implanted. Like
Hence the
starseed.
Virgin Mary.
Well, right. He was implanted. He was implanted by Gabriel. And let me tell you, the archangels are not far off from working very closely with other alien races, like the Palladians. Yeah. They do a lot of work with them, actually. So it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that because people like me believe that this is hell, that there isn't an existence of God. And yes, God is love, but God giveth and God taketh away.
Now, I guess that's kind of related to another concept, which is the fact is that as anthropologists have found out that the first actual human-like ancestor of us was Lucy, but they never found the male partner of Lucy. Could that be again related to that an external ET impregnated Lucy and either through a laboratory procedure or whatever and gave her his genetic material? Because we do have the junk DNA in the body.
Absolutely.
Brian K has an interesting question too on the bottom of the screen there. I never heard of that. I never heard of it, but maybe you know the answer to it. That's it. Yep.
Here. Hold on. Sorry. I got a text message from my son. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Thomas says, we all have our own beliefs. I personally have no beliefs in heaven or hell. Our heaven and hell is what we make it here or is thrown at us. I can agree with that. That, like everybody says, you choose your own path. We're all put here and you can choose the path.
Do I believe that Jesus is the Messiah? I believe that Jesus was here to teach us universal love. I think that Jesus was here to show people what true love is, what honest, unadulterated, unconditional love is.
Yeah. He's a messenger. That's what Messiah means. Messenger. Mm-hmm. So yes, he definitely was a messenger.
Absolutely. Why does God take young children through illness? Again, this goes to what I was saying. Now, different religions believe different things and whatnot, but what I believe is when we come here, And whatever afflictions that we have, we are learning lessons. You have to understand that when we come here and we are born, okay, before we come here, our soul, our spirit, our energy, whatever you want to call it, is far more advanced than a baby or a child or even we are now.
Right.
And just like when we leave, so that's why I say with the Akashic records that we create before we come here, this is why I believe in reincarnation, because we write out what it is, whether we're here for 10 minutes or 100 years. That was written. It's not about God. It can be about God in the sense that we are creating our stories in order to learn these lessons to ascend to a higher level on the other side.
It's an interesting point.
Because isn't that the great scheme of things? We're all trying to get to the same point. We're all trying to be in the presence of the Creator. We're all trying to be out of whatever this is, right? Who wants to come back? And there are people who don't want to come back.
Yeah.
There are. They don't fit in here. They don't.
What about the people that are the star seeds? What happens
They
to
don't
them?
want to come back.
So they stay up there. They stay up there. Well, I'm just helping people out because people are going, is she talking about heaven? Or, what exactly is she talking about? So that's why.
Well, let me say one thing about the star seeds. One of the things that we feel is that we feel we are important to help people to ascend to a higher awareness. That's what we feel is our purpose is.
Part of it, yeah.
How do you guys know you're a star seed?
Because there's just something about out there that attracts us. It's like we know we're not from here, but we are from out there, if that makes any sense.
When did Jesus say that, Noodles?
The dead know nothing. And now, actually, I don't think Jesus said that, but Christianity, the Christians that came in was picking at us there at Fear Fest. They were saying the dead know nothing, something like that. So it was a Christianity thing.
But you also got to keep one thing in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Please understand that the Bible that we see today was canonized by two different groups: the Old Testament by the people, the prophets and priests of Jerusalem, which is codified the Old Testament, and then the New Testament was codified by Saint Constantine. So a lot of books were left out of the Bible because otherwise it would have been too darn big to lug around. So a lot of things may have been lost through history.
Well, and a lot of things may have been lost, but also there was the Dead Sea Scrolls and things like the Book of Mary and the Book of Enoch.
Exactly.
We found it right there.
Okay. Anyway.
I just speak to the dead. Okay.
Well, this ties everything into it, though, Emmy.
No, I know. It's honestly, it gets too overwhelming for me. So, like I said, the less I know, the better off I am, and I let spirits tell me and talk to me and stuff like that. A lot of you are probably thinking, "Man, she's a crazy person." No, I just, if they got something to say, I will listen. Sometimes they can come through and try to help out with something, but
Okay, so let me tell you what this means, Noodles, because it says the living at least know that they will die,
thank
but
you,
the
Kitty.
dead know nothing. They have no further reward, nor are they remembered. Here, on this plane, here,
Ooh.
Right.
past
So
here.
this great show, Tiger Kitty. We do appreciate all of you watching it too. I really do appreciate all of you watching this.
Yeah, thank you. And, and I want to say this is touchy subjects a lot of people don't
When
come
our
across.
bodies, hold on, let me just answer this question. When our bodies die, we do not sin until we come back. Exactly. The dead cannot sin anymore until we come back.
Right.
We're all sinners.
Well, I'd like to cover another topic that's related to bodies, and that is let's talk about our pets, because we keep seeing depending which church you subscribe to. Some say your pets do not have a soul. Some say your pets have souls.
They have the most pure soul.
They're the most pure soul.
Yeah,
absolutely. Did you know that I believe strongly that sometimes pets can reincarnate just like our other members of our soul tribe, because they feel that they are a part of your experience.
Yep. They're absolutely a part of your experience. They are a part of your soul tribe.
Okay, hold on. Noodles, let me see what Brian says. Okay, so Noodles, couldn't that mean that when you are dead, there is no more ways to make up for our sins? And then Brian again says, just as the dead cannot sin anymore either. Now, honestly, how do we know the dead cannot sin anymore? Like, honestly.
We don't. But we also have something called the residual karma, which is an interesting topic in its own right. It's something from our past that carries over into our current life for some reason.
Yeah.
Like a lesson that we haven't learned.
Correct. Hence why we have to come back.
Right.
And that is a real thing.
Don't come back. Again, some of us are stuck.
Absolutely carry karma from a past life. Noodles, that is not scripture. That is a religious belief.
I just sent him the link, so if he checks his email, and we can have a debate in a speech.
I am not going to debate that. I will not.
There's one you don't want to do that with.
Listen, I've debated that with people before, and I will not debate that fact anymore.
Let me ask this. So who...
Let me ask you another thing.
Go ahead. I'm going to do another
curious. We're talking mainly about one God. But remember that there are parthenons of gods that we work with. That kind of, you could say, are kind of like competing with the one God that we all know of. I remember when Jesus said, or when it says in the scripture, I am the Lord thy God that captured you out of Israel. Thou shalt now have no other gods before me. Which means that Yahweh was saying is that there are other gods. But yet, you don't really hear people talk about the other gods.
So there's one thing that we have to understand. So not only did man see transfigurations in the Bible, and this is according to the Bible, okay? Man saw transfigurations in front of them. They saw things that weren't of this earth, all right, in the Bible. So we know that people do see things in the Bible. They were considered transfigurations, but we don't know what happens to like someone like someone who knew the truth and maybe had sinned against God or denied God. We don't know what happened to them. Maybe Satan took them and are using them to roam the earth. We don't know. But we do know that man in the Bible, and these weren't sinners, these were people that followed Jesus, they saw transfigurations of dead people in the Bible. But what Jesus says as far as man, when man dies, they are in nothingness until resurrection.
No.
The little girl who was resurrected by Jesus never spoke about seeing God or anything like that, going to heaven. Either did Lazarus. There's no account of it.
But we're not just laying in the ground waiting. That is a
Well,
religion.
you're decomposing, yeah. But
That's our meat suit. We are energy beings.
Right.
Right, waiting in nothingness to be resurrected and judged.
Oh, well, because we don't need the meat bags as energy beings.
In the Christian religion, that's what it is. I'm just saying as a
that's a religious belief. That's not Bible.
Yeah, it is. Show me something in the Bible where people roam the earth after death.
Show me where we are in limbo.
I just showed you. I just posted the verse, the Bible verse.
And I told you exactly what that meant.
What did it mean?
We know we're going to die, right? Here, let me pull it up again.
Let me tell you what I think. People do stay in limbo because that's what ghosts are.
Well, I mean, wait. If that was the case, though, wouldn't Jesus be talking about our spirits roaming the earth?
What about the Holy Spirits?
Father, Son, Holy Spirit has to do with God and Jesus. So, for instance, like Jesus performed miracles on planet Earth. So did God.
Okay, Jesus and God are one.
Right. So when you do Father, Son,
for the
Holy
living know
Spirit,
that they shall die, but the dead know not anything, neither have they any more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. The memory. That means that when we leave here, right? When we leave our bodies, when we die, we're just there, because outside of here, time does not exist. It means that our bodies go in the ground or whatever, and we're gone.
Bam. Parasolo just said it right there. Ghosts are confined, spirits roam.
Like I get it. Like there's a difference between this talk and the Bible, but there's nothing in the Bible about after you die that you're roaming the earth until resurrection. Specifically says that once you die, you're being resurrected. It doesn't say anything about that. That's all I'm saying. There's no talk of it. There are talks of evil spirits and stuff like that trying to influence man. I know that. I can find that for you.
I mean, what does that have to do with the conversation?
Well, so the question was, when we die, do we roam the earth? And there's nothing in the Bible that.
That was your question.
Yeah.
We're not walking around like zombies.
Is that there are people that continue to decide to roam the earth that don't go through the portal?
Okay, let me ask you this, Noodles. Have you had a loved one pass away?
Well, yeah, plenty.
Have you dreamed of those people?
Yeah, of course. I've dreamed of my dogs. I've dreamed of many people, many things. Yeah.
Okay, so when we sleep, right? Because our bodies are what needs rest. We're energy. We don't need to, our souls, our spirits. We don't need to rest. Correct? We can visit each other in an astral state because we're not in our bodies when we're there. So no, yes, the spirits can come and go as they please. That's why I speak of, like, when I told Emmy in earlier, because outside of this realm, when we're here, time does not exist. when I died and I went and sat with Jesus and I had my conversation with him, I felt like I was gone for a month. It was 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes, something like that, that I was clinically dead.
Right.
Felt like I was there for a month because time does not exist. Our spirit, because we're energy, we can free roam.
Mhm.
Let me ask, or Brian has a question. What if the spirits or souls that get misled by Satan and they are unable to find the way? Who believes in that?
Like I said earlier, you have to allow that. There are people on this earth that, okay, let's take, I don't want to name throw any celebrities, but let's take some of these celebrities that are,
Oh, Scientologist?
no, celebrities who are elites. Okay.
Okay.
Celebrities who go from being normal singers or whatever to super fame, and then they get all weird and they start saying and doing. Kanye West is one of them. He is an elite. Okay. All of these celebrities have something in common. They allowed their dark alter ego to enter them. They all have to do with the elite societies, the Illuminati, these sorts of things, which has to do with what? Satan.
You believe Illuminati's? Never mind. I'm going to.
Absolutely, 100%. It is a thing.
I do.
No, it's a thing, but you believe that. So
what
you,
about
okay,
organized religion, though? Because
hold on, Michelle. I'm going to forget this. So
telling us, particularly a lot of
exactly, Terry. They sold their soul.
Oh, you're not good enough for the kingdom of heaven, so you're going to go straight to the gates of hell. And some people are so afraid when they die that they choose not to go through the door, the portal, because they're afraid that's exactly what's going to happen to them.
I agree with Terry. They sold their souls. When they went into their whatever, they sold their souls. They gave up their soul to the evil instead of the light, which people should be whatever. But they made that decision. They opened themselves up to that.
Can you read Psalms 146 4?
Hold on,
The
I want to
living
ask
know
really
that
fast.
they will die, but the dead know nothing at all. Whatever your hand finds to do with your might, for there is no work, nor planning, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave where you are going.
That's speaking about the body, Noodles. We're on a whole other subject.
Well,
about Illuminati. You were saying Illuminati is Satan,
that always
and it's a
happens
real
on
thing.
I was
So Illuminati is
nothing else. So let's try to bring it back to the original thing. Okay. Now, I think most of us would agree that we know that not all of our pets are probably part of the tribe. But how come some people think that our pets are less important than us when some people think that there's a separate heaven for pets? I don't know why, because you look, especially with teachings by a lot of channelers, including Sylvia Brown. She says, when you go home, your pets are going to be the first ones that are going to meet you once you leave the intake, as I call it, the reception. That's the pets that are going to meet you. Then your loved ones are going to meet you. So why would God or Mother God, Father God, have separate pet areas where we can never be close to the pets that we lovingly cared for all those years?
Yep, I agree 100%. And I think that they come with us. They're part of our soul tribe.
Yep. And what do you think about the fact that some people have decided that we're going to go incarnate on another planet instead of Earth? Again, I mean, me and Lumi have talked about this. We're going to Silver Moon. We don't really know what the planet's called. We just know what we call it Silver Moon, but it's different, you know. Do other people, do you think, choose to incarnate on other planets after Earth, or do people keep wanting to come back here over and over again?
I think that once we've ascended, once we have learned all of the lessons that we need to learn, we can go wherever we want.
Right, because I mean, what's the point of keeping coming back to Earth if you don't have to?
Right.
But do you think majority of the people do, or the majority of people who are reincarnated come back to Earth?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, I mean, it depends. It depends on what. Like I said, there are people that come here. They learn their lessons. There are people who don't come back. There are people who become guides. There are people that, you know, do other works.
I also think there might be people that just come back because they're just comfortable here because they know this place.
I don't think any of us are comfortable here, though. Would you be comfortable coming back here?
If it's the only life you knew, probably.
Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll. Who wants to come back?
Okay. I'll do a poll on that. So, yeah, 87% of the people said that they believe they're done.
We're done here.
I just want to know, like, what the consensus is, because I don't really.
So in the Bible, another thing, I'm sorry, because I'm reading this. There's only one account of. So as the Bible goes on, it talks about there is only one thing that will resurrect the dead, and that's Jesus Christ. And it's going to happen all at once in the Bible. So that's another thing that when you're talking to Christians, because I know you talked about this before, how Christians were giving you a hard time. This is another reason why I guess they're kind of telling you, you know. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like, you know.
No. It's no. I want to ask this because it's in relation to what you said. So Jesus was a human like us, right? How can he isn't God the one that's supposed to be able to bring back the dead, not Jesus? If you want to think about it that way.
Yeah. So Jesus is was a perfect human, and so he was created. Yeah.
But he can't bring back the dead if he was a human like us. You see what I'm saying? Is it only God?
Yeah, he can. So when God created this human, it was like when God created Adam and Eve. So Adam and Eve were created in perfection, and they had knowledge. So, for instance, today we can cure a lot of things that we couldn't cure maybe 40, 50 years ago. It's not a miracle. It's not a miracle. It's knowledge. And this man that was created,
knowledge.
Yeah. So yeah, just like science, just like medicine. People,
you got to think outside the box sometimes. You got to think outside the box. Now, you can sit here and rattle this off to me all day, but I'm still going to go with my experiences, what I've been told. I don't have to share what I experienced, because that's my experience and mine alone. I can.
Yeah, but you were telling a story about how you went somewhere and these Christians were kind of giving you a hard time. So this is where they're coming from. They think that you're not lying. They don't think that you're lying at all.
Well, I don't think I said that at all.
I thought that's what you guys said. You said you went somewhere.
No, this was on the internet.
Oh, okay.
She was reading the internet thing.
Okay, so then what did they say to you that you're so upset about?
I'm not upset. You're the one that came up here to argue it with me.
No, I was just giving you information.
Let me ask you a
You
question.
weren't giving me
Nicholas. Would
information.
it
You
be
were giving me a
possible-
religious belief. You weren't giving me information.
Yeah, I was giving you information on Christian
Okay.
religious beliefs. Yeah.
So do you believe in the Trinity? Because that's not in the Bible. Do you believe
No,
in?
I don't believe in. I don't believe in the Trinity.
Do you believe in?
Absolutely not. If you know anything about me, I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate. Yeah.
Well, that doesn't have anything to do with
The Trinity was created by the Turks. I'm fully aware of this, and it was I think it was 300 years after the death. Yeah.
You're trying.
Do you realize that a lot of the books that were written prior to the New Testament, which covers the Old Testament, which works with the Pentateuch or the Torah, were added and later on, but there were many that were not added. Likewise, we have books of the New Testament, written by things like the Essenes that were not included in the New Testament. So many Gospels.
Yeah, Michelle. I mean, if you're talking about Christianity, you could talk about Judaism too. There was no talk of spirits. I mean, they talked about angels, and in Christianity, they talked about angels and transfigurations of angels and stuff like that. But they never talked about someone's loved one coming back from the dead. That's all I'm trying to get at, guys. When you talk about this and you're talking to Christians who believe this, it's. Sorry.
And again, no.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
That comes back, like I said, at Fear Fest, the Christians that came there to picket the place and stuff. Because
so that's what I was getting at.
Yeah. They were Bible beaters, and they were opening up scripture after scripture, but everybody, if you look at Christians compared to Catholics, now Catholics, I mean, come on.
They're a bunch of pagans.
I was a Catholic. I was raised a Catholic.
Yeah,
but
me too.
But who started the Catholics?
I'm a Roman Catholic pagan Palladian starseed, so I guess I'm.
It was St. Peter. It was St. Peter.
Yeah, St. Peter said a lot of things too.
He was the first.
And then there was never any talk of
Revolution.
Okay. Let me ask this: what about the 13 crystal skulls? Let's get off religion for a moment.
I'm sorry.
Please get off religion.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. Because we lost a lot of people when we hit that religion thing.
Right.
No, and I don't do the religion, but the 13 crystal skulls.
They were into crystal skulls, yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, Michelle?
Nobody really knows who made them, but they were made so perfect.
I'm not saying it was extraterrestrials, but it was extraterrestrials.
Like made by somebody with a lot of skill, working with a material with tools that we would not have expected at the location of the crystal skulls. It didn't have the kind of chisel marks that you would think.
Right.
It was almost like they were using heat to make the perfect melded lines, and the crystals are pure. They don't have any imperfection in them. So nobody really knows much about the crystal skulls, how they came to be, or what they represented.
How'd they know there's 13 of them? Does anybody know that?
Is anyone actually counting the number of crystal skulls?
They said there's 13 crystal skulls.
You want to know where I think that they come from?
Well, I think they come just like making pyramids. I believe they come from aliens. But I mean,
I think that they were part of the culture of Atlantis.
And not only that, but 13 is a mystical number because you've also got 13 dimensional planes. You got the 13 people in the coven. You got the 13 apostles. 12 apostles plus Jesus makes it 13. You got in the new system counting the Kundalini. You got 13.
Windows 1980 was born on the 13th. Go ahead.
Technically, Michelle was born on the 13th. Yes, that's very true, though. I was born on the 13th. So it's really kind of interesting how 13 is such a special number.
Well, I watched a documentary on Egyptian history, and there's an archaeologist who believes that at one point a lot of the statues were defaced by different empires that came to be the Egyptian Empire, and they found stuff like that didn't make sense, carvings on these statues that didn't make sense, didn't match. They believe that whoever started this civilization was extremely advanced. So, did they lose knowledge? Probably. I mean, think about how easy it would be right now if like everything gets wiped out. There's a nuclear bomb goes off, a couple people survive, and they find these computers.
Well, the Sleeping Prophet talks a lot about his experience in past lives and being Israel as Ra. I mean, in Egypt as Ra. So he was one of the people that was around when the Egyptians were playing around with genetic material splicing and creating all these mystical creatures. And like, for example, like the hippogriffs and the things like that, these creatures, they created them with their own genetic manipulation. And one of his jobs was to actually get rid of these creatures, these griffins and creatures like that. And you can find out more about it from the advanced research of Edgar Cayce. Very interesting. It was interesting to read about it. Yeah.
It has to do with Atlantis and how they were doing all of that and how it was an abomination and it was destroyed. And a lot of the Akashic records that they had going on were, well, a lot of people, including Edgar Cayce, think that when they destroyed Atlantis, a lot of the records were put into the wisdom of like the crystals in Mount Ida.
13. Lucky for some, unlucky for most. Just saying.
You ever think that maybe there was an advanced civilization and we don't know they're here, like where they're like, so you got these islands off the coast of India and all this stuff, and these people are living like barbarians and they don't even know that we exist. They have no idea,
Okay, you guys are talking about computers. There are, let me find one. Sarah may know where I'm going with this. Oh, I got to find a gemstone. The right one. Oh, okay. There are gemstones out there that have what's called record keepers on them. Okay. And there's
mine.
You got
a picture of mine.
So record keepers is basically the computer of today.
Right, that's
back in the day.
I like the Akashic records.
Yes, and people can actually feel the vibrations on these gemstones, these record keepers, and they're triangles. And each triangle that's coming off a gemstone is a different year of almost like computer, like, how we gone from floppy disks and stuff like that to, whatever we got going on now. A whole mess, but I know, right? It's rarely talked about on YouTube. It's true. But so do you think how we're looking at rocks and the record keeper gemstones? I mean, a lot of them are like that. You got to look closely at them. Some are very faint in a triangle and some are more precise. Yes,
I think
they do.
I think there could be information in Boston crystals because we kind of begun the process of doing that on our earthly level at the current time using things like DVDs, Blu-rays, CDs. That why would it be limited only to two-dimensional lattice marks? Why couldn't?
Well, because back in the day, back billions of years ago, when stones and stuff like that, they hold. Okay, how's this? So when a stone gets broken somehow, the shift of the universe or the shift of the world, whatever. Not universe. I don't even know why I said universe. That crystal will actually fix itself and regrow.
Yeah.
Can anybody explain that? And then that's still used as a record keeper because it talks about history. So that's part of back billions of years ago. I probably went all off on everybody. Now everybody's like, man.
No, I'm trying to find this picture.
The record keeper? Actually,
Well, I have a few of them. I have one from Mount Ida in
But see, they never talk about that in the Bible either. And that's been around forever.
They most certainly do talk about crystals.
Do they talk about that? No, the record keeper part of them.
Well, listen. There are things that they don't want people to know. Just like Michelle said, there were things that were removed and,
right.
Whatever.
Even in the actual existing books of the Bible, there probably were whole sections that were hard to read. They couldn't transcribe, and so they just edit those out.
Yeah, I mean, Atlantis isn't in there.
Yes, Dina, absolutely. Okay, so Noodles, let me ask you this. What are your thoughts? Do you believe in the power of a gemstone?
So here's the thing. I believe that anything's possible on planet Earth. I'm Christian. It's just that I don't believe that I have the knowledge or anyone really has the knowledge of how to use crystals. So for instance, like I said before, the only person that I think that was alive on planet Earth that knew anything about that was probably Jesus Christ, and that's how he was able to walk.
They talk about it in the Bible.
Yeah, no, I believe it. It's just that we don't have that knowledge.
One of the problems, though, unfortunately, Noodles, with most Christian churches is that they don't really necessarily encourage their parishioners to go out there and look outside of the church for more information.
Yeah, so that's like with birthdays and stuff. They didn't talk about anyone, Jesus Christ, celebrating any birthdays. We don't know if he did. Is it a big deal? We just don't know if he did. So therefore, we're just gonna say, hey, we're gonna stay away from you as Christians. We wanna follow the word of Jesus because we're Christians, the word of Christ. Right? I mean, that makes sense.
When I told you, and I don't want to look up Bible stories all night.
Yeah.
They literally named different crystals and things in the Bible.
Mm-hmm. I mean, listen, God created this planet, and he gave this to Adam and Eve, and he said, listen, it's yours. You just got to wait a little bit. I got to teach you how to use it. Here's some animals. I'll give you a girlfriend, etc. You can name everything, but you don't know how to use everything yet. Hold up. And man jumped the gun, and now we don't know anything. We're a bunch of idiots.
Well, the thing is, don't forget that one of the stories that we hear about Eve is we know that she's woman number 2. We don't really hear much about woman number 1, which was created equal to Adam, and that was Lilith. And I think people really don't realize that Lilith saw herself equal to Adam, not as subservient to him. But I don't want to get too much into the subserviency thing. I think it's kind of missing the point. Again, there's a lot of things that the Bible is not sharing with us that we have known was passed down through history. And that's the reason why, we need to keep an open mind. That we have to keep learning, because that's what we need. That's our essence. That's the reason we're here, is to keep growing and learning.
Right. So, for instance, when you hear about an immaculate conception, everyone thinks that's a miracle. But I know plenty of women who got pregnant into that in the 21st century without having sex. Doctors have implanted eggs
I was going to say
inside of women.
how, but yeah,
No.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, like, is it possible? Yeah, we're doing it now. What kind of knowledge did they have back then, or this person had back then, or this angel, or whatever? I mean, you guys talk about aliens. Aliens are
Can't
so.
hear you, Sarah.
Sure, we don't get everything mixed up in noodles. First of all, Mary was conceived without sin. She's the one who had immaculate conception, not Jesus. Jesus, however, didn't have a physical father, so Father Yahweh gave the genetic material to Eve to bear a son. Now, remember, we all know about the book of Luke, how Joseph was so distressed that he thought that Mary was having an affair with another guy.
You want to see an alien?
Well, you also got to remember that she wasn't the first one. Her aunt was blessed with a child before Mary, and it was Gabriel who came down and told him.
That was Martha, yes.
I got to go back and be right back.
Will you share my screen?
Michelle, why don't you start a cult?
I don't want to start a cult.
A cult.
Yeah, the Silver Moon cult.
I'm not necessarily interested in starting a cult. I just want to try to help people to understand what's really going on in the world. That's one of my missions as a Pleiadian Star Society.
That's ridiculous.
Is to help people to understand.
Look at the alien.
Yep, the ET. Yep, the Greys.
Look at him. That's not a Gray.
No, he's not gray, except a little bit like a Gray with the big eyes. But
why all of a sudden are these aliens 10 feet tall now? You notice that? Like everyone's talking about.
Always done that way.
Really? I don't remember hearing that. I remember hearing that there were these short gray aliens with big heads and big eyes.
That's because we didn't have social media and we didn't have the news that people would listen to us.
Oh, so you always knew that they were 10 feet tall?
These are the ones that are abducting people. Because they have 3D.
There's another thing, too. Okay, go, Sarah. You first. All right.
No, I was just saying that those are the ones that are here because they have treaties with the government to be able to abduct people.
And not only that, there's more than one type of gray alien. There's
many types of aliens, period.
Exactly. So maybe there are some small ones and there's some tall ones. And because they may be similar or related to the same ET, but they're different, like subspecies of them.
Michelle, let's say
I mean, I'm a Pleiadian, I'm a star child, but I'm an elf-like star child, which is different than those that look like your traditional human being, which is another, I must think a subspecies of them, if that makes sense.
They all come from different star systems as well.
Or different planets in the same star system.
True, but I mean, like, there are different races. Like, you're Palladian, I am not.
Yeah.
I am actually...
So do you think, before I forget this, do you think racism started back With aliens or
No,
star seeds? Why?
no.
Why?
That
But
was
there's
a
different star
man-made.
seeds.
So what?
You don't think it started back then?
No.
I don't
Okay.
think there really was the concept of racism, but I think
No.
that
That was
because of the environment of where we come from, do we develop certain necessary characteristics of our home planet. For example, obviously where I'm from, apparently the air is thinner, so your ears would be bigger to pick up more of the sound that otherwise you wouldn't hear because the air was thinner. It's like if you have a planet that's darker, you're going to have bigger eyes to absorb more light so you can see what you're doing.
Right. Well, you guys, we're coming up to that 2-hour mark. Holy shit, it's been a...
I can't find this crystal. Why? When I'm not looking for it, I can find it. When I'm looking for it, I can't find it.
Well,
That's
maybe you
okay.
need to keep it in the... So for those, I can probably go in the... You know what? Hold
We
on.
need to do an episode 3 because we still didn't answer every question.
No, but we went down that rabbit hole that a lot of people don't go down. You know what I mean?
Oh, I found it.
Okay. Yeah, of course she finds it. Okay, I'll share it. But no, even like Parasolo said, a lot of people don't cover stuff like this. And, you know, with all of us, we can bring up one topic or another, or, you know. Okay, I'm going to share that thing. Yes.
Let's see it. Which
You got a
crystal
nice rainbow in
looks like
there.
quartz?
It is.
Yeah, it is a quartz.
From Mount
and,
Ida.
And see those edgings right there?
Yeah.
That's record keeping.
Yep. Hold on. I have a Lemurian too.
That's what I was going to go grab.
Oh, never mind.
No, you got to pull it up. Just click on it and you can reshare it.
No, I just X'd out of it, and I'm gonna have to go find. I'm gonna have to go through back to the
Thank you so
100.
much, Tiger Kitty. You guys, I guess we will have to have a part 3. I mean,
I'd really love to have a part 3. I think that would be fun.
I was hoping to hear some of Michelle's prison stories. That will be in the next lifetime.
Yeah.
That will be, yes. That will be in a lifetime. We'll all go in.
Michelle, how many hours did you actually spend in jail when they arrested you?
I didn't spend any time in jail. I didn't even end up in prison.
All right.
There you go.
You don't even know where that idea came from about prison. I never was in prison.
But I'm going to end the show. You guys hold on. Stay backstage. You guys, thanks again. We could go on forever, but thank you, Michele. And everything about Michele is in the comments. Definitely go visit her. This was part 2, and I guess there's going to be a part 3 just because we have so many unanswered questions. But love you all. Thank you so much for supporting each and every one of you here.
And don't forget to check out the show, guys. Silver Moon tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on Kick. We have our music show, and we'd love to have y'all come to that.
And you guys, again, Michele's links are down in my description. And we will talk to you all later.
Okay.